Section 4 is titled Refusing Typical Requests and Claims. Alright, so when we're using the indirect strategy, we're going to follow the following writing pattern or writing plan. We're going to have the buffer. This is going to be a neutral statement, something that the reader and the writer can agree, such as a compliment or appreciation, a quick review of facts. Try to include a key idea or a word that acts as a transition to the reasons. Then you're going to have the reasons. Remember, I mentioned your wording. Try to have a positive tone. Bad news. You want to de-emphasize the bad news. Remember, we talked about using the passive voice. Accentuate the positive or imply a refusal. Suggest a compromise, alternative, or substitute. And then the closing. Renew good feelings with a positive statement. Avoid referring to the bad news. Include resale or sales promotion material if appropriate, and look forward to continued business. So this is all the things that we have been talking about. So it's kind of a review here. Remember, begin with the buffer. Use praise or transition for the transition to the explanation. Provide the explanation using an indirect or general refusal, and show appreciation. So here is a refusal letter. It opens with praise and compliments. We appreciate your recent letter. Doesn't say yes or no. Then transition with key ideas. Explain cutback in gifts, revealing without actually stating. Because of the internal restructuring and subsequent cutbacks in charitable giving, we're forced to take a much harder look at funding requests that we received this year. And then close graciously with a praise and a forward look. So they didn't say we're not going to make a donation. They basically explained that they were taking cutbacks in giving. So how do you deal with disappointed customers in print and online? Well, you want to control the damage, so it's like damage control, and resolve problems. So you can call or email the customer immediately or reply to the individual's online post within 24 hours. Describe the problem and apologize. Explain why the problem occurred, what is being done to resolve it, and how it will be prevented. Promote goodwill by following up with a message that documents the phone call or acknowledges the online exchange of posts. And then written messages are important when personal contact is impossible. If you want to have a record of the incident, and to formally confirm follow-up procedures to promote good relations. Dealing with problems immediately is very important in resolving conflict. So you want to deal with it immediately. You want to address that. Here's a bad news follow-up message. It opens with agreement and apology. Then it explains what caused the problem and how it was resolved. It takes responsibility and promises to prevent recurrence. And then it closes with a forward look. So you can read over that for yourself, but that just shows you how to write a bad news follow-up message. Alright, so let's talk about social media, because this is an important feedback channel. And it says that more than 50% of users who complain on Twitter expect an answer from customer service within an hour or less. Almost 60% of consumers think the response time should always be the same, including weekends. So the pressure is on for businesses, as 88% of consumers say they're less likely to buy from companies that don't answer complaints on social media. So instead of fearing social networks, smart companies embrace these channels as a way to reveal the true mindset of the customers and receive free advice on how to improve. So recognize that social media is not going anywhere, and instead of fearing it, let's use it as a means to get better and verify the situation. So investigate to learn what happened. If the complaint is legitimate, admit the problem and then try to remedy it. Become proactive. That's very important. Anticipate the trouble and try to exceed the consumer's expectations. Monitor comments. Engage the positive and address the negative as fast as possible. So there probably is a person that is going to be working in customer service specifically in answering and commenting. Accept the inevitable. Recognize that nearly every business is going to experience some negativity. You cannot make everyone happy. But do what you can to respond as constructively and then just move on. And it says Brandy Claiborne with McAfee said something that I thought was good advice. Responding within 24 hours is a good rule of thumb, depending on the situation, but be careful when handling negative reviews on social media. Remember, once you post, it's in writing forever. That said, addressing the customer on their turf through their preferred mode of communication is a good idea, but use private messages and encourage a phone conversation if it's a complicated issue. And I thought that was pretty good advice. And remember, in denial messages, you will need to adopt the proper tone. Don't blame customers, even if they are at fault. Avoid you statements that sound preachy. I help my husband with this when he is sending student emails. He'll type it up and then he'll ask me, make this sound better. And so I take all the yous out and I rewrite it to make it sound less preachy, I guess. And then use neutral, objective language to explain why the claim must be refused. And consider offering resale information to rebuild the customer's confidence in your products or organization. Model Document 7.4 in your book provides a sample denial claim. So here is the email denying a claim. Okay. And it has a buffer. You're absolutely right. We sell the finest surround sound speakers that are also acoustic works of art. And then it explains the price matching policy and how readers' purchase is different from lower price model. And it gives the reasons. There's an implied refusal without actually saying no, shows why readers' claim cannot be honored. And then implied refusal. The Bang & Olufsen Below speakers set sales for this amount. You sent us a local advertisement showing us a price of $699.95 for the speakers. This advertisement, however, describes an earlier version. The set you received has a wider dynamic range and smoother frequency response than this set. It is also 20% more compact than the older set, the earlier version. Naturally, the advanced model you purchase costs more. Okay, and then continues resale. If you haven't installed them yet, you may be interested in ceiling or wall mounts and other accessories. It's a positive closing. So this is a good example of an email denying a claim.